Hello and welcome. If you're new to my channel and if you're a subscriber, a warm welcome back. I recently received this comment. Hi Anesu, I'm interested to know why you think that Joseph Duclos is setting a standard for quality, even more so than Hermès. Considering they're opened in 2021 and their products have not passed the test of time, nor wear and tear like others have. We have certainly not seen a vintage Diane bag that is 30 plus years old that still looks immaculate. How can one be certain that the metal details won't get scratched easily or detach from the leather completely over time? I do understand this is a very old brand name, but that's just it. The current owner has purchased only the name and has no other connection to the old 1754 family business. That was Joseph Duclos. They're relying on that name to justify their prices and create a sense of quality, luxury, and timeliness. But is it truly? After all, they're merely a toddler. Thanks. When I received this comment, I was incredibly excited because I thought if I was on the other side of the screen and someone suggested that a brand was better quality than Hermès, who up until that point were the benchmark, I certainly would have challenged them. And so when I looked at the comment, I thought, I'm going to create a video straight away. But after a while, I reflected and thought, hang on a second, if somebody said to me, have you ever met Ramesh Nair? And I was to say I hadn't, I'd feel somewhat embarrassed. And I thought, you know what? Let me reach out to the brand and see if I can actually meet Ramesh and just confirm a lot of the demigod status I have accredited him with once I've met him in person. So when I reached out to the brand, they came back fairly quickly, and a few weeks later, I spent the most glorious afternoon getting to know Ramesh, who is he as a creative director, talking about how the various products he has created for Joseph Duclos, and also his thoughts on luxury as a whole. When I came back to London, I thought to myself, I want to do more than just answer the comment. I'd actually like to create a video that's an ode to Ramesh Nair, because people don't actually realize or appreciate just how phenomenally talented he is as a creative director. Within luxury, we glorify the fashion creative directors. Think, for example, Sarah Burton, Jonathan Anderson, Olivier Rousteing, Pharrell Williams, Alessandro Michele. They're publicized, they get a lot of publicity. People talk about them, people know. There's a lot of hype around them. But we don't do that with the leather goods creative directors. But many people carry handbags. The majority of women and also men now carry handbags, whether it's the conventional handbag, a tote, a backpack, for example. As I got to know Ramesh during the course of the afternoon, I was just totally bowled over by his ability, his knowledge of the industry, and just how he's able to hear a story and then create a commercially successful product. And so this video is very much an attempt to give Ramesh his flowers. I will talk about Ramesh in many videos to come, but this is the start of many more to come. I'm Anesu Sagonda, and I produce educational luxury content for anyone after the finer things, whether you're young and starting out in life and wanting to reap the benefits of buying better quality from the get-go, or you're new to money and wanting to learn how to navigate the terrain, or you're into luxury but you want to focus more on high quality under the radar brands, then my content is geared towards you. I'm going to split this video into 4 sections. The first bit I'll talk about Ramesh, and then Moynat, moving on to Joseph Duclos, and then the 4th bit I'll just bring it all together. Ramesh is slight in build, and he only wears black from head to toe. Occasionally he'll wear a bit of grey. Softly spoken, he's shy, but what really stood out during our interaction is just how incredibly generous he is with his time, with his energy, with his experience, with his expertise, with his knowledge. He's just someone who just gives and gives. His generosity knows no bounds. He started his career, his working career in the army. worked his way up to officer level. And when he was due to sign and commit to the next role, something kept telling him not to do it. He didn't do it. And then after a period of time, an opportunity arose. A fashion school collaboration between the Fashion Institute of Technology in New York and the Ministry of Textiles in India. He interviewed for the school, was accepted onto the program, and he completed the course. Once he had completed the course, he worked for a number of companies linked to the greater fashion world, an import-export business, a t-shirt manufacturing company. He also did some work for Yohji Yamamoto, Christian Lacroix, and he also created his own fashion brand. And his fashion brand, after showcasing some of his work at a fashion show, facilitated a chance encounter with Jean-Louis Dumas, the head of Hermès, and the same Jean-Louis who sat next to Jane Birkin on a flight, and they were talking about handbags. Next thing, the Birkin had been created. The same man who was behind Hermès, the owning family. He attended the show, and at the end of the show, wanted to meet with Ramesh. Ramesh kept putting him off, and eventually he gave in as Jean-Louis was persistent. And Jean-Louis was impressed by the quality of Ramesh's work. He had worked with fairly delicate, light fabric, and the way he had been able to craft and fold and create the designs that hung beautifully, Jean-Louis was absolutely impressed, and he wanted to meet the young man behind the brand. Initially, Ramesh shied away, but he was persistent, and eventually they started talking and invited Ramesh to visit Hermès the next time he was in Paris. And that was the start of a fruitful mentor type relationship between Jean-Louis Dumas and Ramesh Nair, and that then opened the door to him working for Hermès for just over 12-13 years. But before he joined Hermès, having worked in India, he thought, I've exhausted all my opportunities. Spoke to Jean-Louis, he was thinking of moving to Paris, and Jean-Louis strongly recommended he go back to fashion school, which he did. And at fashion school, towards the end, he was asked to put down a list of some of the fashion designers he hoped or aspired to working with. And on his list, he had Azadine Alaïa, he had Jean-Paul Gaultier, he also had Martin Margiela. When he finished the course, Jean-Louis facilitated an interview with Martin. Initially, it didn't go well, but he came back for a second interview, and Martin appointed him as his assistant. Ramesh spoke incredibly fondly of Martin because he was a man, firstly, who hasn't truly been recognized by the industry for the work, the high quality of work he put into Hermès. He's responsible for the success that Hermès enjoys now. When he joined in 1997, before then, Hermès style was fairly baroque. So bold, gold, it was lavish, it was bling. You had the big H's. But Martin Margiela came in and he changed the look and feel of the brand. He was responsible for the pared back look. It was non-ostentatious. He didn't have the big H's. And he even made Berenia stylish. And what Ramesh really liked about Martin is he referred to him as one of the masters. He was on his list, but he was actually the best. And they got on very well, and Martin was able to spot Ramesh's talent. When he was at the first fashion college, he went to the collaboration with FIT and the Ministry of Textiles. He met a professor who kept saying to him, Ramesh, you have the eye. Martin was able to see that Ramesh had the ability, the creative ability, he had the talent, but he was very good in the way that he was able to recognize it, draw it out, and then help Ramesh develop and then nurture his talent. Ramesh would call Martin Margiela Monsieur Pourquoi pas? Because he would always say, why not? Whenever he approached him with an idea, he would say, why not? Because he would encourage him to think for himself, to explore, to try things, and then learn from experience when something didn't work. And they had the most amazing relationship where he learned a lot within the women's fashion wear space. After a period of time, Jean-Louis came to him and said, what do you think about leather goods? Planted the seed, which then went on to him veering from women's wear to producing leather goods. When Martin Margiela left Hermès, he stayed there and he worked with Jean-Paul Gaultier, another one of the masters that was on his list. So as they always say, be careful what you put out there, because it can become true, and it did spectacularly for Ramesh. He was behind some of the top selling bags at Hermès. I'm not going to talk about those because during the course of our time, Ramesh joked on numerous occasions about writing a book. And as you know, many things are said in jest. And so I wanted to just draw a very broad overview of Ramesh's career, how he ended up at Hermès, the benchmark when it comes to luxury. As I've said on many occasions, he learned from the best. He learned the best when it came to quality, it came to craftsmanship, and bringing together very high quality products. Ramesh Nair is somebody who can hear a story, interpret a story, and create products that are commercially successful. I was in Paris literally for 24 hours to meet with Ramesh, and then the next day I was racing against the clock to get back to London. As I was making my way to Gare du Nord to get the Eurostar bag, I popped into Galeries Lafayette just to get an idea of the bags Moynat had out on display and find out what are the best-selling bags. The whole of Paris, whether it's concessions or the standalone stores, in London, concession or the standalone store, the best-selling bags and the bags that are literally adorn their entire walls are the bags that were created by Ramesh Nair. The best-selling, the Gabrielle Clutch, followed by the Gabrielle BB, then you have the Gabi and also the Rajan. When Ramesh Nair joined Moynat in 2010, the remit was to build a brand that would rival Goya when it comes to toile. I have said in the past, Hermès, it's what I'd been told before, but it was actually to rival Goya. Ramesh was able to come in regardless of the structure, the remit in place that you typically get with a big organization in order for it to efficiently function. What he knows of the market and what he's been told consistently and he has delivered on, he has the eye. He was able to see an opportunity to create not only toile, but also high-end leather bags, which he did. And Moynat have now gone on long after he's left to reap the phenomenal benefits of his designs. The Gabrielle Clutch, their best-selling, has been given the ultimate endorsement by our queen, Queen Camilla, and she's been seen on numerous occasions, high-profile events, literally rocking the Gabrielle Clutch. For many years to come, his designs will continue to be a success for Moynat. I've said in previous videos, I'm going to touch above, Celine video where I spoke about Hedi Slimane and how they're starting to phase out some of Phoebe Philo's designs, some of the size options in the best-selling designs from Phoebe Philo in Ode to Hedi Slimane as he brings in new designs into Celine. But with Moynat, for many years to come, I don't think they will ever let go of Ramesh Nair's styles. They are the brand's DNA. They will have new creative directors who will bring in styles, but I don't think there'll ever be a time where they'll let go of the styles. They are the DNA. They have been and will continue to be phenomenally successful for Moynat. Ramesh left Moynat in 2020 and then about 18 months later resurfaced at Joseph Duclos. The entire time he was at Moynat, I literally followed Ramesh. So when he left, to say I was gutted would be an understatement, but I was intrigued to find out what next, where and when will he resurface. So when I heard he was joining Joseph Duclos, I was naturally intrigued because I thought he has done incredibly well at Moynat. What next? He can only do better. He has learned from the best and he will do even better than he has done and the people, the masters who have taught him. When we met, Ramesh kept saying to me, and specifically when we spoke about Joseph Duclos, the focus, the emphasis on the brand is the craft. There's no fuss, no fanfare, no hype that I keep talking about the brands I'm focused on. It's all about the craft when it comes to Joseph Duclos. He calls himself the conductor of the orchestra, and he has put together an orchestra with some of the best players in the industry, sourcing leathers from Hermès, the tannery owned by Chanel, and they supply the Berenia, which is the name Hermès use, or the heritage calfskin that Joseph Duclos are focused on. He has brought in some of the best artisans in the industry, and he's made sure that they have the craft, the skills, the crossover skills, constantly training people, the best hardware. And he's just bringing all of those various components to perform at a very high level and ultimately produce the best products in the market. I also met with Frank de Haan during our time because I wanted to complete the picture, because I know I had questions, and I know a lot of my viewers will have questions now and in the future. Are they building up a brand to ultimately sell to a big luxury group? I'm happy to report they're not. Will they be producing other products, brand extensions, other styles of bags, for example, opening stores and so forth? And I wanted to get a better understanding of who Frank is as a person as well. He is an entrepreneur who has built a number of successful businesses in the past. Around COVID time, he was thinking, I want to do something different. What next? So he thought he'd use his entrepreneurial ability. He has done well. The fact that he's French, his passion for the arts. And he thought, let me veer into the luxury space. He heard the story about Joseph Duclos, which he really liked, the fact that they were supplying high quality leathers. And he thought, why not produce products that are on par, that are fitting of the high quality leathers that the Duclos family is known for. Started researching who are the best creative directors in the industry, and the name that consistently kept coming up was Ramesh. Met up with Ramesh, and Ramesh said, I agree to help you with Joseph Duclos, provided you guarantee one thing: you will never compromise on quality. And Frank has never compromised on quality. He has given Ramesh carte blanche. He started at Moynat. Moynat is part of Louis Vuitton Moet Hennessy, a big organization, structured. They have systems in place. He had a remit he had to work to, always had to report to someone. And he couldn't just do whatever he wanted. It always took time to effect whatever he wanted. Whereas coming into Joseph Duclos, reporting to Frank, they're on par when it comes to quality, it comes to craft, not compromising on quality. And he has carte blanche to do whatever he would like at the brand, and he's doing incredibly well. Frank is buying into his expertise, the eye he has, his ability to hear a story, do the research with regards to what was happening around the time Joseph Duclos was started, when they're supplying the high quality leathers, and then out of the story create hugely successful commercial products. And that is exactly what is happening at Joseph Duclos with Frank and also with Ramesh. So I'm excited to just see the developments that lie ahead. Ramesh has learned from the best. He's learned the best. He's now producing the very best in the industry. And so coming back to the comment that initiated this video, true, we don't know what wear and tear will be like. Yes, we haven't seen a Diane bag that's over 30 years old. And yes, we don't know if the metal will scratch easily. But what we do know for a fact is that the materials, the leathers that have been used, the hardware that's been used is on par with the Hermès bags that we have to look at in terms of wear and tear, 30 plus years. And then on top of that, the craftsmanship of Joseph Duclos bags is superior to Hermès. So we have a product where we don't have any history, but it's better made than the bags that we do have access to now. It's merely a case of time. You have to give the brand time. With all good things come to those who wait. And this is something I'm absolutely confident, without any hesitation, to say, if you're willing to gamble on this brand, you don't care for the fuss, the fanfare, the hype of the value that goes with Hermès, but you want to focus solely on the craft, like Ramesh has said, then this brand will deliver, and deliver very highly. The last bit, they're relying on that name to justify their prices and create a sense of quality, luxury, and timeliness. Well, they're not creating anything. They are quality. As I've mentioned, they're using the very best quality leathers from Hermès, the best quality hardware. They're working with some of the best artisans in the industry to produce bags that are better when it comes to the craft, how they're made, to Hermès. If you are not beholden to the hype that I keep saying, and you just want high quality, you will get high quality, but quality is not cheap. But this quality will deliver highly in terms of sheer enjoyment of the product, performance, longevity, and it's heirloom worthy. So you'll be able to pass it on to your children and your children's children. I have absolute unwavering confidence in Ramesh Nair and his ability to bring everything together to a very high degree. And he has done that with Joseph Duclos. If you're someone who is a first mover, who will do something before the masses catch on, this is definitely a gamble worth taking. I get a number of messages from people saying, I'm going to see Joseph Duclos. How many of you have actually been to the store? I'd love to hear your thoughts, to the wonderful showroom they have in Paris. Have you seen any of the new styles? I'm going to be talking about those. The saint-clair, the frontelle, the wallets, the purses, and so forth. I'll be talking about those in individual videos. To all my subscribers, as always, thank you for watching. Do subscribe if you haven't, so you don't miss out on future Joseph Duclos conversations. And I look forward to seeing you all again soon.